guys, it's Dr. Harmony, an Ayurvedic and women's health practitioner, doctor of Chinese medicine, and the founder of the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy, back with you today on the Harmony Inspired Health podcast, where we bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science, blending Ayurveda, women's health, holistic success, and personal evolution. Hey, if you're live with me, obviously you know it's a Tuesday. If you are catching this on the podcast, then yeah, it's a Tuesday, and I have just got off a cruise ship, which I got off yesterday morning. I'd never been on a cruise ship, so I thought that as a Christmas present, I was going to get my kids and husband a 2-night cruise just so that we could experience it, because this year I'm all about new experiences and adventures. So yeah, that's what I've been doing all weekend, and I was actually surprised. I did really, really enjoy it. Now, I always thought cruise ships are definitely not going to be my thing. I don't like being trapped, especially with a whole group of different people. And so I thought, well, for 2 nights I can handle it. You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to try new things. So I did it, and we really, really enjoyed it. However, I will say that I don't think I could do any more than 3 days. I think for a weekend getaway, it was perfect. It was absolutely amazing, lots of fun, knew all the things, but I don't think I could do much longer than that. And I didn't step foot in the pool because I looked really grotty with everyone in there. We had so much fun. Anyway, I hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend as well. Today, however, we're going to be diving deep into the 3 sacred sciences of the Vedic tradition. So that is Ayurveda, Yoga, and Jyotish astrology, or Vedic astrology. These are known as the sister sciences because they come from the same ancient source, the Vedas, which are some of the oldest recorded spiritual texts in human history. The Vedas contain timeless wisdom that teach us how to live in harmony with nature, our bodies, and the cosmos. Each of these sciences serves a unique purpose. So Ayurveda really focuses on physical and mental well-being by aligning us with nature's rhythms, whereas yoga provides the spiritual framework for self-realization and enlightenment, and Jyotish helps us navigate our karma and align with divine timing. When we integrate these 3 disciplines, we unlock a holistic blueprint for health, vitality, and purpose. So what I wanted to do today was break down the core principles of each and how they interconnect to guide you towards your higher self or your highest potential. Okay, so in saying that, let's begin, and let's start with Ayurveda. Now, I'm sure many of you who are tuning into the podcast or maybe watching this live stream in the Ayurveda Women's Health Sisterhood, you guys already know a little bit about Ayurveda, right? That's probably why you're here, either Ayurveda or Women's Health. But I just want to cover the basics of what it is, because it's really important to know how it fits in with yoga and Jyotish astrology so that you can really create self-mastery. And they say that when you combine all of these 3 sciences together and you work with all 3 of them, you get to moksha, or liberation, faster. So that's the idea about them being sister sciences and incorporating all aspects of them into your life. So first of all, Ayurveda, the science of life and health. Ayurveda, the word, means the science of life and longevity. And it is one of the oldest systems of natural medicine. It's rooted in balance, so balancing the doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha, the mind-body constitution, our prakriti, which is our constitution at birth, and our vikriti, which is our imbalanced state. Now, I just did a episode on the Ayurvedic doshas, so you can go back and listen to it. I think it was number 26. And it goes right into the doshas and the elements and all aspects. So if you want to learn more about the doshas, go listen to that episode. Basically, Ayurveda is really about aligning ourselves with nature's rhythms. So it has the key principles of the doshas, as I just mentioned, which govern our bodily functions and personality traits. It also emphasizes health being harmony with nature and one's unique constitution, so our prakriti. Ayurveda says that disease is an imbalance of the doshas, our digestive fire, our agni, and elimination, so the malas. One of the core principles in Ayurveda is the 5 elements. So it looks at the Panchamahabhutas, which make up the doshas. And the 5 elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And they form the mind and body. Ayurveda also looks at the dinacharya, which is our daily routines, and how we can honor our unique constitution through dinacharya, and seasonal living, which is ritucharya. And when we can align ourselves with seasonal living and daily routines, it really keeps us aligned. Ayurveda practices healing through herbal medicine. So it has a range of beautiful herbal medicine, nutrition according to your individual constitution. One of the main healing aspects of Ayurveda, if you're managing chronic diseases or quite extensive illnesses, is going through what we call a panchakarma process. And that is a really intense detoxification process for the body. And Ayurveda is really well known for panchakarma and its wonderful results. Ayurveda also incorporates meditation, lifestyle changes, and a whole lot of other lifestyle tweaks we can do, like different pranayamas, which is breath work, depending on our mind-body constitution. It really is about cultivating that greater sense of self and awareness so that we can always bring ourselves back into balance and align our unique constitution with nature. Ayurveda teaches us that health isn't just about treating illness, but preventing it by maintaining balance in all areas of our life. Now, when we look at yoga, yoga is the science of spiritual evolution and mind-body harmony. So the word yoga, it means union. It's a system to integrate mind, body, and spirit to achieve self-realization or moksha, liberation. Now, the Vedas say that you can follow any of these paths. So Ayurveda, yoga, or even Jyotish, astrology, Vedic astrology, and reach moksha, reach liberation. But when you combine the 3 together, you reach liberation, moksha. So coming back to yoga, while modern yoga is often associated with physical postures, which we call asanas, true yoga is an ancient spiritual science that liberates the mind and awakens consciousness. So when we look at yoga in the West, a lot of us are introduced to it because it has some fitness benefits, flexibility. We think it might give us a little bit of mindfulness. A lot of people go into it for strengthening their body. But really, yoga is this holistic science that can be explained by Patanjali's 8-fold path of Ashtanga yoga. And the asana practice, so the postures, physical postures of yoga, like doing yoga on the mat, what we often call yoga in the West, isn't the first principle of yoga. The first principle is the yamas, and these are ethical disciplines. So it looks at incorporating into our lives and abiding by non-violence. So non-violence, truth, so speaking our truth, non-stealing and self-control, and non-possessiveness. So they are the yamas. And then the second step of the 8-fold path is the niyamas, and these are self-discipline practices. So cleanliness, contentment, self-study, and surrender. The third principle is asana. So this is the physical postures for strength, for flexibility, for balance, but it's also about cultivating that mind-body connection and doing that through the breath and through physical elements. The fourth aspect is pranayama, which is breath control to regulate energy. And in Ayurveda, or in the Sanskrit language, prana translates to life force energy. So pranayama is being able to control and regulate this life force energy. Once we can master pranayama, then we can move on to pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses to focus within. And this is such an important concept we talk a lot about in Ayurveda, because a lot of dis-ease is actually formed due to overstimulation of our senses in this modern world. So if you think of, like, if you're constantly listening to really, really loud banging noises and you're not wearing protective gear over your ears, it can lead to deafness, right? But if we're in the modern world and we're constantly being pulled outside of ourselves, we lose that connect to our constitution and to nature, and that can lead to disease. So if we're constantly listening to our, podcasts and loud noises all the time, and then we're visually scrolling on our phones all the time, and then with our taste senses, we want really heightened sweet or salty taste. We're constantly like just pushing those senses, like we're just going boom, boom. And it can really create this big explosion or dysregulation, I should say, of the Vata dosha. And the Vata dosha governs the central nervous system. And so it can create a lot of dis-ease within the body if we don't practice pratyahara, which is withdrawing from all of the external senses and bringing our focus inwards. When we can start to master pratyahara, we can move to the sixth step of dharana, which is concentration to train the mind. And then we move to dhyana, which is meditation for awareness and self-mastery. And then once we have established all of those 7 steps, that's when we move to samadhi, which is the ultimate bliss and spiritual liberation or moksha. So yoga isn't just about fitness. It's a transformational system that aligns us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So if we look at Ayurveda as the path to health of the mind and body, yoga is the path of spiritual alignment. And that brings us to Jyotish, which is the science of cosmic influence and divine timing. Jyotish actually means the science of light, and Jyotish is Vedic astrology, which offers insights into our karma, life purpose, and optimal timing actions. Now, I have really started to dive deeply into Jyotish astrology last year. I become so interested in Jyotish astrology because when I had my readings, it just made so much sense. I really love how Jyotish astrology, it also helps us determine our prakriti, so our natural state, our constitution. So our natural constitution at birth. I remember prakriti is our birth constitution and our vikriti is our dosha that may present now because it's a little bit out of balance depending on the environment we're in, the foods we're eating, the people we're hanging around with. All of those things will influence our dosha, making it our vikriti, which is the current dosha that we treat because it is the aggravated or the imbalanced dosha. Now back to Jyotish, it has these key principles. It looks at the 9 planets, so that's the influence, and it shows the influence on human life. The lunar constellations, which shape our emotions and personality. It looks at the 12 houses, which govern different aspects of life, so our health, relationships, and career. The dasha system, which are planetary periods, and it reveals our personal life cycles. Then it looks at the muhurta, which helps us to choose the best time for important events. And then Jyotish astrology helps us to understand remedies or upayas like mantras, gemstones, rituals, and Ayurvedic dinacharya and Ayurvedic methods to help balance those planetary influences. So Jyotish astrology suggests that depending on our timing of birth, we have these planetary influences that can uncover different traits that we have that will best suit our dharmic path as well. So when we look at our dharmic path, it's the way that we should show up, the way that we should live, but also part of that is our purpose and our path in our career and relationships, etc. So Jyotish astrology is like a karmic roadmap that guides us to align with divine timing and living our purpose. So how do all of these sciences work together to help you with ultimate self-mastery? Ayurveda and yoga, when combined, helps with healing and self-realization, right? So Ayurveda prepares the body for deep spiritual practices. Often in the Western spiritual community, a lot of the time, you'll hear the throwaway line of, we are not the body, we are spirit, we are not the body, and all this. And yes, we are not just the body, but we are humans and we do have a body. And it is very important for our spiritual practices and our spiritual evolution, actually. So if we don't concentrate on the health of our physical being, of our physical body, it is harder to tap into deeper spiritual practices. Because as a human, we feel into this physical being as well. We are both a physical being and a spiritual being. So it's really important to have this vessel that we are using, this human body, to walk on this earth and to connect to spiritual practices in human form, being really clean and being really optimal, because that will help accentuate our spiritual practice and our path to liberation and our path to moksha. Yoga also helps clear the mind for self-awareness and enlightenment. So through that mind-body connection, integrating the pranayama work, it really helps us clear our mind for more self-awareness and enlightenment. So I don't know if you've ever done a yoga class. If you have, at the end, we usually do a shavasana, which is laying down, and it's called corpse pose because it's the complete surrender, but with complete awareness. And oftentimes after a yoga practice, you might have all of these deeper insights, weren't there beforehand, but now that you've done the practice, you've been able to clear the mind and tap into that deeper sense of self-awareness. The practice of pranayama is used in yoga and Ayurveda, and it calms the nervous system, so vata, but it's also wonderful for can cool pitta, and it can energize kapha dosha and boost agni, our digestion. And this is why pranayama done correctly is really important, because pranayama can be prescribed depending on the individual's constitution. And that's what we teach in our ISO breathwork practitioner program, because I saw a lot of other breathwork practices just doing this one breath, where you're hyperventilating, and that's elevating the vata dosha. Might be great for the kaphas in the room, but it can create trauma in the vata. So pranayama should be a specialized practice that's really prescribed depending on an individual constitution. If we just practice yoga, as I mentioned, without Ayurveda, the path to spirituality would be quite ungrounded, because spiritual practice encompasses how we look after our physical being, our emotional health, our mental health. I mean, the pillars of health alchemy, which is the first pillar of my higher self method, is understanding the physical needs of the body, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the dharmic needs. And when you put all of those together, that is health alchemy from an Ayurvedic perspective. And if you're just practicing Ayurveda and more working just on the physical body without the yoga, then sometimes we can fall in the trap to it just being like this other health system, this wellness system, when it's not that at all. So they really are and can be interchangeable and one of the same. Yoga and Jyotish astrology provides cosmic health guidance. So Jyotish reveals karmic influences on health and disease. Our birth charts will show dominant doshas and health vulnerabilities. So as I mentioned, when you get your birth chart reading, it can really help you understand your prakriti, your individual constitution, and how that may play out in your life. The Jyotish astrology also helps us understand what Ayurvedic remedies, prayers, will help balance the planetary and doshic influences. Ayurveda will heal the body and Jyotish will guide the timing. So together they create beautiful karmic alignment. And if we pair yoga and Jyotish, this is like the spiritual evolution and timing. So Jyotish helps us choose the best time for deep spiritual work. And certain planetary periods signal personal growth and transformation. So I know when I see my Jyotish astrologist at the start of the year, I even look at like when will be the best time to launch my programs, and when is the best time to do more inner reflection and practice more of that pratyahara. When is the best time to take some time out and adventure? Because the planetary alignments determine our individual path, right? So when we compare them together, we can get better outcomes for ourselves. The lunar cycles and their nakshatras influence our meditation and our spiritual practice as well. So again, connecting back to nature, aligning with our cyclical rhythms and how they should be. So by aligning yoga and Jyotish, we can amplify our spiritual growth and personal success. The power of integration. The secret to thriving in the body, mind, and spirit is integrating all of these three sciences together. Use Ayurveda to cultivate physical and mental emotional harmony. Practice yoga for self-mastery and enlightenment, and consult Jyotish to align with cosmic timing and dharma. When these sister sciences are practiced together, they create holistic well-being and deep transformation which, as I mentioned, leads to moksha, liberation, faster. So I hope this gave you a little bit of an insight onto or into why Jyotish, Ayurveda, and yoga are called sister sciences and how they work together to create greater self-mastery and spiritual enlightenment, moksha liberation. If you would love to learn more about Ayurveda, I have a free intro to Ayurveda for health and wellness professionals masterclass. So please DM me on Instagram at Harmony Inspired Ayurveda, or you can email me to access this. I will send you the link. And yeah, go over and follow me on Instagram for daily insights and wisdoms. If you love this episode, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review because, as I say, it's like the high five of podcast love. Thank you so much for listening in. I really do appreciate you and your time. I know you could be spending your time on so many different things now, but you've chosen to tune in to the Harmony Inspired Health podcast. And for that, I'm really, really grateful that I can share this wisdom, and hopefully you guys can go and share it on as well. So please share this episode or share what you've learned. Lots of love. Namaste.